let me share with you the top 5 mistakes leaders are still making in 2023, according to the Forbes Coaches Council. The first one is not acknowledging fear. At the moment, there is a lot of uncertainty in the world of business, and we're constantly telling people and being told, well, get used to that, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And there's nothing wrong with that. But not acknowledging the fact that there is some discomfort, there is fear. Your team will be concerned about things, and trying to make them feel like that's not acceptable, it's problematic. And a lot of leaders are still doing it. Communication around fear, around acknowledging it, and around understanding how to deal with it, how to center ourselves despite fear is particularly important. You would have heard the saying, without fear, there's no courage. So fear is important, but understanding it, acknowledging it, and dealing with it is what sets great leaders apart. The second mistake that leaders are still making in 2023 is one that's been around forever: micromanagement. You know, I was talking with a leader just last week at a conference, and she was sharing with me that when she first started her leadership journey, she was a chronic micromanager. It's such an easy trap to fall into. And you know what? She's a nice person and a caring leader. But what she acknowledged to herself and shared with us was that at the start, she just wasn't sure what would happen if the job wasn't done right. She was an expert herself, so she kind of figured the best way to get things done would be to do it herself. What a demotivational result that would have had on her team, her micromanaging in that way. The third mistake leaders are still making in 2023, oversharing underdeveloped plans. Sharing's good, right? Communicating's good, right? Well, of course it is. But if your plans aren't fully formed, if you're still working through them, or there are elements you're still not sure how they're going to come together, the trap can be to start to share in the interest of being transparent. But the problem is that sharing can give rise to additional questions which you may not know the answers to. And that can then make you seem vague or unclear or even untrustworthy, which is probably the opposite of what you're intending to achieve. The fourth mistake leaders are still making in the year 2023 is not encouraging direct communication. Now, what I mean by that is direct communication with you, the leader. Too many leaders either are worried about not really wanting to hear about issues, or try and problem solve too quickly rather than explore issues and concerns that may be coming up from their teams. Remember, if you're the kind of leader who stifles communication or gives the impression they don't really want to deal with it, it will stop happening. And if it stops happening, that small snowball that's rolling down the hill will become a very large avalanche in no time at all. The fifth mistake that leaders are still making in the year 2023 is not taking necessary action. A lot of leaders can be a high presence but low impact, which means they speak well, they seem to understand what's required, and can sometimes be quite charismatic. However, actions speak louder than words. Well, this is true. If we don't take the actions that we say we're going to take, it becomes apparent pretty quickly. If our team needs something from us and there's an agreed plan or an agreed way to go down that track of getting that problem solved or taking on that new idea, and it doesn't happen, or you're having to be reminded and followed up constantly, undermines your authority very quickly. Now, these 5 mistakes that leaders are still making in the year 2023, I guess they've been around forever and they probably still will be, but the way to work through them and the way to mitigate them, A, to understand them, B, to acknowledge them, but C, communication is the key. Elegant communication, mastering the art of communication, can help us resolve all of these issues. The way we communicate, the context within which we communicate, and how we apply those skills to our audiences really makes a difference and can take a good leader to greatness.